Hello indie game fans! Before we bid adieu to 2019, here are some hidden gems that I enjoyed which were perhaps not quite on the level of my top 25, but fun games nonetheless. But do check out the previous coverage on the best looking pixel art games of the year as well, since there are plenty of great games there. We start this list with Roof Rage, a pixel art martial arts themed platform fighter with an awesome look, a nice variety of 13 characters from a sumo wrestler, ninja, boxer, samurai, and more. Super Smash Bros. Have had a long-ranging impact on indie game developers, with many of them trying to make their own version, and Roof Rage is a well-made, well-polished one of these. It is for 1 to 8 players, with fun combos, the ability to hurl roof tiles at your opponents, and even challenging CPU difficulties of up to 9 different levels if you just want a solid single-player experience. I suppose all turn-based tactical RPGs will have the invariable comparison to Final Fantasy Tactics, and in many ways, Fel Seal Arbiter's Mark does draw from that. However, I do like the art, and the variety of the characters and upgrade options is impressive. Playing as an Arbiter sworn to keep the peace, you discover a growing corruption within your organization and must strike out on your own to prevent a world-ending cataclysm. Really well made one of these, which again might have gotten lost in the shuffle. The hand-drawn Metroidvania, Feudal Alloy, released back in January, which was a title which I was looking forward to, since this is a world where fish-controlled robots live. There are various traversal abilities, stat upgrades for your character, as well as a ton of secrets and puzzles to solve. The art is really a highlight, but this is a little bit rough around the edges in terms of the narrative and how the game wants you to progress. SUPRALAND, despite a larger than normal number of reviews on Steam, is something which I have not seen that many people talking about, so I thought that I would give it a little bit of a shout out. This is a first-person action-adventure game with elements from Metroidvanias, Zelda games, and even Portal to some extent. Explore this miniature sandbox of a world in a very well-made title. We Need to Go Deeper is a 2 to 4 player co-op submarine simulator where you go on an underwater adventure, Jules Verne style. As in games like Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time, Undercrewed or Space Team, there's always one too many systems to handle, so cooperation is key. The art style is pretty neat, but not my favorite. but if you're in for a chaotic good time, this is one to pick up.
Team.
The World Next Door is quite an interesting puzzle RPG where you play as June, a human girl trapped in a parallel dimension inhabited by magical creatures. People in both realms know and accept the existence of the other, but only a select few are allowed to visit, with our protagonist being one of them. The puzzle combat is interesting since you walk on a grid of runes and activate them to attack, match 3 style, with wonderful characters, an interesting world and a fun game overall. One of the more interesting puzzle games that I came across is Automa Chef, which, as is evident from the title, is about the automation of cooking.
Are you a programming mastermind?
Place various machines and build the most efficient production line in order to cook up a stove.
A business human with an entrepreneurial flair.
I really like the simplified programming logic that you can create in this title, having to both be able to serve up the dishes quick enough and to conserve energy at the same time, making for a tricky balance which is fun to get right.
Engineer tomorrow's kitchens today.
A travelling artist? That's wonderful.
We've had quite a few shipwrecks here. There's a reef surrounding the bay and that's what does it. I'm just glad you all made it.
I have some work for a painter like you. I'd like a painting of this very city.
EASTSHADE is a first-person exploration game set on a beautiful island where you, following the wishes of your mother, take a trip to the island to paint the scenery that she loved so dearly. There are strange, anthropomorphic animals on the island, as well as simple fetch quests and objectives to accomplish, but I was absolutely stunned by the beauty of this world.
Mr. Foreman, you have been called before this assembly of the College of Physicians to answer the charge of practicing medicine without a medical license. What have you to say in your defense?
Mary Kate is frightened when she spies a looking glass, for 'tis a portal out through whence the gates of hell do blast. A deadly and foul wind that comes direct from Satan's power.
Astrologaster is a comedic narrative adventure game set in Elizabethan times. You play as Dr. Simon Foreman, an astrologer and a quack doctor who consults on problems ranging from the plague to matters of the heart.
Patients have come to me seeking treatment for their medical problems. To advise them, I find answers in the stars.
You get to perform some hilarious pseudoscience by interpreting the stars and conveying this advice to patients. Also, the awesome Renaissance-era sing-along songs and beautiful pop-up book art style really creates that whimsical mood as you play through the story.
It's a matter of time before I gain my medical license. For I am not a quack, sir. I am a true doctor.
Silence! Constable, shackle this man and take him from hence to jail.
But, sir, pray afford me the chance to... unhand me, you rogue!
The sequel to one of my favourite platformers of all time is Electronic Super Joy 2. It has quite a similar look in terms of the bright colours, contrasted with the silhouetted platforms and characters, but it adds new mechanics and more insanity like an FPS section, free to play with optional DLC for more levels. I reviewed Creature in the Well, and the self-titled Pin Brawler is an action-adventure title which sees you harnessing enemy projectiles and using these back against them, solving puzzles and fighting the creatures as you seek to restart the machine in the mountain to ward off an unending sandstorm. This is a smaller title which I wanted to have more of, but very interesting ideas, and the mechanics could potentially be expanded upon. Autonauts is an automation-focused base builder which will certainly scratch that vectorial itch where you gather resources, craft and build equipment, as well as build and train robots to automate everything. Rather than strictly mechanical arms and conveyor belts, these are autonomous robots that can do everything from chopping trees, fishing, harvesting crops, and so on. As such, building a complex network of equipment and robots is really fun, and to see everything move like an ant colony is very satisfying. Later Alligator is a wonderful adventure game with a delightful sense of humour. Taking place in Alligator, New York City, play as a private detective hired by Pat, who believes that he is being targeted by the Alligator Mafia. The minigames are very fun and varied, from 3-card Monty, pinball, a dating sim and more, but the art, animation and soundtrack are the key draws in my opinion. There are over 100 different characters in the game, which is quite a number, with the sheer range and effort put into the art and animation being spectacular. Reventure is a pixel art exploration platformer which, based on its early access title of Long's Adventure, is pretty blatantly inspired by The Legend of Zelda, but as a side-scroller, where you explore this fantasy kingdom with over 100 different endings. I love exploration in games, so the sense of wonder and discovery that this game conveys really is something else. So many secrets and unlockables with a sense of humor as well.
Surprise, Buckface!
Do try not to die while action items remain unticked.
Gotcha!
Client expired.
The roguelite immersive sim Void Bastards is an excellently made title with a sense of dry and dark humor, where you play as rehydrated prisoners sent on dangerous missions to recover critical parts for the corporation.
Biscuits revoked!
Come here so I can give you a hug.
Love the art style, and being made by the people who worked on Bioshock and System Shock 2, the stealth elements, looting, crafting and combat certainly are key features as well.
No respect for synergizing.
Each prisoner comes with a unique trait, like being tall or a smoker, so it has that same variance as per Rogue Legacy, and quite the compelling gameplay loop as well. Just a quick note, if you are new here and enjoyed the video so far, be sure to subscribe and check out the Discord channel while you are at it. Here's to more indie gaming coverage, so back to the video. What the Golf is a humorous physics puzzle game that never gets old, since it is a golf game for people that hate golf, but the developers have managed to take the idea and run away with it. One minute you are racing in a car, the next playing super hot, or your ball sticks to surfaces, or you are mowing things down as the golf clubhouse. Pretty funny with a large amount of content. Rise to Ruins graduated out of early access this year and is an extensive survival city building simulator with tower defense elements, set in a high fantasy world. This developer has regularly put out updates through early access with no signs of stopping, even after 1.0, adding new features, systems and so on, some of which are huge, like a Prestige-like system as well. Quite a classically designed god game, the indirect control takes a while to get used to, but the sheer amount of systems can be overwhelming, but very rewarding if you sit down and spend some time with this. Islanders is a minimalist puzzle strategy game where you build cities on beautiful islands. Rather than a chill city building game, this is more puzzle-like in nature, since you only have a limited number of buildings and gain points depending on where you place them. A lumberjack near a forest will net you more points as compared to placing it next to the sea, for example. Reaching the point goal unlocks more buildings and eventually allows you to get to the next procedurally generated island. However, the high score chase is the central mechanic, where if you fail to meet the requirement, it is game over and you start again, but very pleasant nonetheless. Dawn of Man is considered to be hugely successful in the indie space and seemed to have come out of nowhere, since this is a prehistoric city builder where you lead a settlement of ancient humans in their struggle for survival. Of course, there's farming, crafting, hunting, fishing, and even combat against rival tribes. What I love the most about this is that it reminds me of Age of Empires without the combat, which is something that I could have done without, simply building and expanding your settlement. Well thought out systems, and a nice variety of different scenarios as well.
First day of school chess, gotta play it cool, use your moves, 'cause this is a game you can't afford to lose, whole world's in danger.
CARDPOCALYPSE is about a whimsical trading card game, modeled after a popular in-universe TV show, Mega Mutant Power Pets. Play as Jess, the new kid in school, as she makes friends, dodge teachers and more, all while playing this fun little card game. You play cards from your hand, with your energy pool increasing each turn, with the win condition being to take out the enemy leader. However, these leader cards do mutate when certain conditions are met, leading to game-altering changes, but I love this simply due to how it reminds me of the Pokemon trading card game.
Mega mutant food, turning cats and dogs into mega mutant dudes. Cardpocalypse, school is gone insane. The only way to win is the game to end all games. Cardpocalypse.
Welcome to Wilmot's Warehouse, a game for people who love to organise things. Wilmot is in charge of this enormous warehouse where deliveries arrive at the bottom and customers place orders at the top. Time is limited though because nobody likes waiting too long for their orders, so I've been organising similar objects into groups to make it easier to find what I need.
Wilmot's Warehouse is a simple and pleasant puzzle game for people who love to organize stuff. Play as a worker in a very Amazon-like warehouse without all the nightmare stories, receive goods, sort them and deliver it on time, with the main obstacle being your limited field of vision and your own memory. The faster you are, the more stars you get, which can be used for upgrades like increasing your movement speed or to increase the storage area. Every 3 rounds, there will be a quarterly stock take where you can spend all the time in the world organizing your goods. So if you have that compulsive part of your brain that just needs to put similar things together, this is a great one to check out.
I still am not 100% sure is in a place I'm happy with, but I found it. Wilmot's Warehouse, a game for people who like to organise stuff.
Little Big Workshop really did make time fly for me, since it is a management sim where you have to build and develop your own workshop. It it's a lesson in planning and optimization as you take on various contracts to manufacture anything from rubber ducks to motorcycles, placing workbenches and storage areas in the best locations. There is an extensive tech tree since you can train your workers with the most complex items requiring multiple stages of production. Keep your factory afloat while watching out for the competition. One of the nice surprises at the start of the year was When Ski Lifts Go Wrong, a bridge builder in quotes puzzle game where you build ski lifts, ramps and bridges. Similar to games like Polybridge or Bridge Constructor Portal, the ski resort theme is well done, but this even incorporates action elements where you can control the characters in certain levels. I always love these sorts of games, so to see one move beyond the simple concept of building a bridge is pretty neat. Again with the timing on this one, since Cthulhu Saves Christmas came out of nowhere, being the sequel to Cthulhu Saves the World, by using the combat system of Zeboyd's other fantastic title in Cosmic Star Heroine. This is a classically designed turn-based JRPG with some modern tweaks and great writing, but definitely got lost in the mix with the holidays. VECTRONOM in many ways almost made my top 25 list, and in some ways is similar to that of Jump Grid, which I featured instead. However, this is a very stylish rhythm puzzle game as you move your cube from one level to the next, with the trick that the level and platforms move on the beat as well. It's trippy as all heck, but a very interesting alternative rhythm game taking the #1 spot. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, share and subscribe. Check out the recommended playlist or the best pick for you, and I will see you after the jump.